My name is NGOZI. I'm a consultant gynecologist. I came in from the United States. 3 years ago, I was healed of metastatic breast cancer on this altar, Papa. I remain eternally grateful. I remain eternally grateful. Thank you, Papa. My testimony for today. My sister she does oil business supplies, so she got a purchase order to fulfill, and she was trying to raise the funds with her bank to fulfill that purchase order. So while they were working on this, it took about 2 months to get that approved. She did not know that that process had been hijacked by fraudsters. So her initial communication with the suppliers were the only communication she had with them. The rest of it were just the fraudsters. So she would send a message to the suppliers will respond, and then the fraudsters would doctor both the message she sent to the suppliers and the response of the suppliers. They just changed a letter in the emails of both sides. But my sister and the suppliers did not pick that up. So this went on for about 2 months. So eventually that money was approved, and so my sister added her own equity, and it came to $178,000. So she instructed them to make a payment. So they made the payment. So after they made the payment, she sent telex to the suppliers, and as usual, of course, the fraudsters intercepted that message. So the next morning after that payment was made, the real suppliers now sent her a message, and they said, "We're waiting for payment." And she said, "What do you mean you're waiting for payment? I sent you telex yesterday. You did not get my telex?" They said no. So she called the second person in the company, and the second person said, "I did not get any telex." So she panicked, and they now started looking at the email threads, and that was now when they discovered that both emails were fake emails that had been going between, back and forth. So my sister dropped, the phone and called her bank right away, and she said to them that, "Can you stop the payment?" And they said it was too late, that they had already made the payment, but that they will see what they can do. So that was the week of, and the Lord reversed it. I think it was about 3 to 4 weeks ago. So her bank now called JP Morgan Chase, because that was where the money was paid, to JP Morgan Chase. They called JP Morgan Chase, and then at JP Morgan Chase, these were their words. They said, "We could not reconcile the account name and the account number, so we initially put the money on hold, and now we have reversed it." And the Lord reversed it. Papa, thank you so much. Glory be to God. Glory be to God. I don't know how we would have been able to start paying $178,000. Glory be to God. My second testimony. In February last year, 2 of my uncles could not pass urine. They went into acute urinary retention and ended up at the emergency room. So one of them lived in the north, and the other one lived in the village. So they both ended up at the same time. Instructive to know that my grandfather died from complications arising from prostate cancer. So both of them ended up, and then they had catheters placed. And on further investigation, my uncle that lives in the north, his PSA was 26.4. Normal is 0 to 4. 26.4, and then prostate was enlarged and irregular. My other uncle in the village, his PSA was 18.6. Same thing, enlarged prostate nodular. So the suspicion was of prostate cancer. So the surgery was recommended for my uncle up north, and he decided to just go down to the east where his family is so he could get the surgery over there. So when he got there, he was admitted in the clinic. And then they repeated his PSA. It had gone up to 35. So the surgeon now told him that, they had to operate right away. So he called me, and he said that he's billed for surgery March 4th. So I said, "What surgery are they going to perform?" And he said that I'm going to get a prostatectomy. So they were going to do a prostatectomy, remove the prostate, and then bilateral osteotomy. So they're going to remove his testes as well, which is the surgical treatment for prostate cancer. You castrate the person. So I said to him that they should hold off on the surgery. So we'll put him on the altar, and then we continue to pray. I initially told them to move that surgery, but they said they were not going to move it. But as God would have it, that weekend they did some renovation in the OR, and then they decided to move the surgery. Meanwhile, my other uncle in the village, he could not walk, he could not talk, he could not control his bowel movement. And people who deal with prostate cancer issues know what that means. So on March 4th, Papa now gave the word. I see 2 brothers struck with prostate cancer. Reversed it, reversed it, reversed it.
2 brothers that have prostate cancer. 2 brothers that have prostate cancer. By the power that raises from the dead, I announce, let it be reversed.
So with that word, my confidence was built up. So I said to him, get me the number of the surgeon. I need to speak with him. So I called the surgeon and I said to him, I need a biopsy. And he said, look, you're a doctor. Why do you want to delay treatment for prostate cancer? And I said, I've got a word. I need a biopsy. I need a biopsy before you proceed with anything. So we went back and forth, and eventually he agreed to do the biopsy. And then he did the biopsy, and 2 weeks later, my uncle called me, and he said, benign. No cancer seen in the prostate. No cancer seen in the prostate. My other uncle in the village, after he was stabilized in the local hospital, I asked him to proceed to the teaching hospital in my state. And then when he got there, they did his own prostate biopsy. And then his words when he spoke to me was, what they thought it was not what it was. No cancer sin, no cancer sin, no cancer sin. So after we got that result, I sent a message to my uncle and I said, ask the surgeon to remove the catheter, perform a voiding trial, and if you pass, he should discharge you home. So he told the surgeon that, and the surgeon said no. So he called me, and then I called the surgeon, and I said, I need you to take the catheter out. And he said, I don't want to do that, because if I take it out, he might not be able to pee, and it might be difficult to get it back in there. And I said, take it out. I have a word. He's not going to come back. He's not going into retention. Just take it out. So he eventually took the catheter out, and it's been a year. It's been a year. My uncle is right here with me, the younger one. He's right here with me. This is my evidence. My other uncle is in the village. My uncle back in the village is also fine. He's not been back, no catheter. He didn't have any surgery, none of that. Glory be to God. Papa, I just want to thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for holding us up. There's a saying that there are 2 birds that bother the eagle, and that's the crow and the raven. They perch on the eagle's back and try to harass the eagle. The eagle doesn't fight back, doesn't try to push them off. What happens is the eagle just soars higher, and the eagle gets to an altitude, and they suffocate, and they fall off and die. Papa, you are a big eagle. You are a big eagle. And any crow, any raven that is perching on your back to harass you, the Lord is just going to take you higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, and then we all suffocate and fall off. Glory be to God. What God cannot do, what